Soul Garden.
Hello, Soul Analysts, and welcome to Soul Horoscopes Weekly Edition. My name is Christopher Witecki. Well, when I last left the natural-born healers of the zodiac, the Virgos, the masters of IB, that final 6 feet of reality, manifestation in reality, that's what the IB state of awareness is. I must be in order to manifest, and that's what Virgos rule on the planet. That turns into analysis, that turns into healing, it turns into all sorts of things. Basically everything in reality, which is what you pay attention to. Well, I last left our healers in Scorpio. The sun was in Scorpio, and the universe was asking Virgos to make some very deep decisions in their minds. That's ultimately a big deal. Once a Virgo makes a decision, because of your obsession with every detail of reality, everything after that decision becomes reality very quickly. A Virgo's mind is highly tied to manifestation with the sun in Scorpio. And for Virgos, it seemed, at least at the time, that they were making very deep decisions. One that would affect their entire life, maybe a decade. Some of that is true, some of that is not. Truth is, Saturn hits Scorpio in a year, and you won't find out if you made mistakes during that time, unfortunately, for a full year. But the decisions had to be made, at least for now. And that's what was so deep and penetrating with Sun in Scorpio. Virgos making decisions that they thought would affect their entire life, and in many cases, that will be true. Then, all of a sudden, Thanksgiving. And a big solar eclipse in Sagittarius. This gave you a big booster shot in feeling secure. Sagittarius and Thanksgiving was an energetic time where the universe is saying, don't worry, return to home and family. All you need is yourself. And you were hopefully feeling that vibration on Thanksgiving. It was also opening up this month's lesson for the Virgo race, and that is self-nurturing. How you take care of yourself. Now, between 1995 and 2009, Pluto in Sagittarius taught the Virgo race what it is to take care of yourself and what it's not. You learned all the hard lessons in every detail. So you are basically returning to what you already know. And that solar eclipse gave you a nice feeling of comfort, but in the last 10 days, perhaps that has begun to dissolve. That's because, despite what you think or believe, what's the reality of the details around your self-nurturing? So in the last 10 days since Thanksgiving, Virgos have been discovering areas of their life where they need to take care of themselves first, or perhaps areas where they're choosing others before themselves, or perhaps where they're failing to nurture their emotions. Virgos falling into the mind game, not paying attention to their emotional field, needs extra nurturing. You know, during that time, the emotions were going all over the place and coming out of the clouds for you. So in the last 10 days, getting rid of things in the way of self-nurturing, whether that be a particular place you live, a roommate that you're living with, a response attitude you have to yourself, how you treat yourself. This may be major family decisions as well, cutting away from certain family members that don't support your self-nurturing or get in the way of your self-nurturing. But now it comes to this week. We're in chapter 2 now of Sagittarius. And now that you are probably clear on what's not going to work with self-nurturing, as we move on to this week, Virgo, it's time to decide where that might be. And on Monday, Uranus rules the day. Uranus means breakdown. So Monday starts with a breakdown, followed by a breakthrough by Tuesday or Wednesday. That breakdown is you realizing something you weren't paying attention to when it comes to self-nurturing. Perhaps in the universe you were blaming the world, and now it's come down to your real responsibility. Perhaps you will see the light. Perhaps you will see the light of where you think you might need to go. But it is a real eye-opener in areas where you thought you had stable ground and you didn't. So Monday not going to be so much fun. Now the moon at the same time is in Aries at that time, making Virgos feel extra vulnerable on Monday. So it's not just the universe scares you or shows you where the door wasn't locked, but it kind of also at the same time, you're jumpy to begin with. So those who are watched over by the guardian agency will be texting heavily, just to put it out there, heavily on Monday. Make sure our Virgo race is taken care of and feeling well supported. As we move into Tuesday and Wednesday, emotions shift into an earth sign, Taurus, so you will be grounded and feeling a lot better. Also, it shifts your emotions into the speculative, your philosophies of how you should feel, not feel, your emotional learning. And this is not just a moon in Taurus, but this is a soul pyramid in Earth. The moon in Taurus will be grand trining to Mars in Virgo. We'll talk about that. And down to Pluto and Venus in Capricorn, mostly Venus. What this does is create rapid manifestation because grand trines speed up reality, speed up learning, and when you have earth signs sped up in their learning, well, they just start manifesting differently, right? All the earth signs rule manifestation. So what happens is decisions in a grand trine, or on Wednesday, end up turning the direction of where you dig, where you produce, where you manifest. Now, what's going to happen is this. Over the summer, your emotions were just glowing and your awareness was expanding at a rapid rate, represented by Jupiter in Taurus. Jupiter has since retrograded. The universe took away the candy. But you're left with the memory of an open belief structure, a new philosophy, a new attitude about life. Since your birthday period, reality is struck and maybe you weren't right. Maybe that wasn't what you saw. So emotions in Taurus bring you back to that magical moment in the summer. And it would be magical because it's Jupiter, and that magical moment is an inspiration for two things. On the one hand, Mars in Virgo. Mars in your sign is putting a lot of aggro, masculine, aggressive energy into the Virgo ego consciousness. Your ego is overinflated deliberately to pull you out of old situations. And what you're going to do, I think, is emotionally remember that magical moment, and your Mars will get up and do what's necessary. So this inspires ego assertion, or maybe you have to draw lines. Your ego stands up. Or in some cases, your ego needs to relax. Remember, I look at ego consciousness as the doggy that guards the door. It represents us. It goes and fetches the hot guy at the bar, the hot girl at the bar. Your ego is the one that goes out and gets things, fetches things, and barks when strangers come. But the ruler of our soul is our heart. You are learning to make that dog obey, either to go fetch when it wasn't, or maybe to calm down when it shouldn't anymore, because it's barking at the mailman and doesn't make any sense. This all grand trines down into Venus and Capricorn, which means that the laws of giving and receiving, in order to get to your heart's desire, because Virgos are very passionate and want to get to their dreams, or they want their dreams to come true. What this all comes down to is you have an emotional memory of the summer. Mars says, all right, assert the ego, train the dog to do something else. And Venus says, well, that means that when the dog gets a treat or doesn't get a treat, that's going to change, the giving and receiving of it. This all leading to your heart's desire. So a powerful week on Wednesday. Again, GA will be with texting like crazy. Then by Friday, universe says, all right, Virgos, let's make a decision. What are the laws of self-preservation? What are the self-nurturing laws? The sun wants a commitment, basically, with Saturn. This is you committing to a new potting soil, a new way of treating yourself, a new way of responding, a new way of emotionally nurturing yourself. We're talking about, I know Virgos can walk through fire. That doesn't mean it has to hurt. That doesn't mean you don't nurture yourself after it happens. You guys definitely like to martyr yourselves out there, but do you have a red cross for yourself? So Friday is decide. What is your red cross? How are you going to take care of yourself? This brings us to the weekend. A powerful weekend indeed, astrologically, and a major dramatic climax to the week's work. On Saturday, we have a full moon in Gemini triggering a lunar eclipse. Now, lunar eclipse is a tug of war, oh so sweet, between the sun, moon, and earth, where the tug gets a lot harder than usual. This is a huge booster shot emotionally for Virgos when it comes to the Gemini energy. And what this means for you, Virgo, is a huge desire to be out there in the world being who you want to be. A desire to be there. I just want to be there already. I want to be successful. I want to be in control of my stuff. And I want people to get in the way of what I want to do. That's probably the emotion that will be released in this full moon. Of course, remember, a full moon is the wolf in sheep's clothing. It is really about the sun in Sagittarius. So, says God University, you want to have all this success in society. Well, then you're going to have to adopt a new philosophy of self-nurturing. You must be a self-nurturing, self-perpetuating energy source of love and have a garden of love that you can return to if you want to be ambitious in the world, if you want to take control of your life. Your own home family foundation cannot be anything that takes away. And so what this passion of the moon does is maybe give you the last little inch of inspiration to push you over that Virgo detailed edge and finally commit to it. What the solar system shows is Once this happens, your new ego, this new strong Mars in Virgo, takes a big step up, and your ability to get things done shifts dramatically if you make the right choice and take care of yourself over this full moon / lunar eclipse. Then Sunday, we slide into home plate. Basically, the moon moves into Cancer, and so you'll become a bit more social. It won't be so much about your career. Also, the sun will be ruled by Taurus, so you'll be owning probably the decisions that you had over the weekend. Now, if you're interested in your love and lust report, well, I do that in a different show. It's on Friday, so I'll talk about where you are romantically on Friday. If you're in GA, I'll be watching over you all week long and personally reading the text myself that I get replies on. Otherwise, I'll see you in 7 days. And until then, live, love, be.